Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I know it has been a while since I've posted anything, but honestly it's been a long ass year already and January isn't even over. So that's how my year is going, but I'm gonna stay positive and hopefully it turns around within the next couple of weeks, but hopefully your guys' year and the beginning of the month is going good for you. But thank you guys for coming back to my channel. I have a lot of new ideas that I want to be filming this year, so stay on the lookout for that. But for today's video, I'm gonna be showing you guys how I do my makeup every morning before going to work, and it's using all drugstore products. So it is on the affordable side because girl, ain't nobody got time to be spending $50 on a product. Although I do have those products too, but to be using them every day, it's just like, it gets way too expensive. So I'm definitely gonna be showing you guys a quick routine. My routine usually takes about 10 to 15 minutes depending on how long my brows take, because honestly doing my brows is like the most time consuming part of my makeup routine. So like I said, it could take anywhere between 10 to 15 minutes. So if you are interested in this look, or if you're interested to see how I do my makeup before I go to work every day, then keep on watching. So let's jump right in. First thing I always do is prep my skin. I'm gonna go ahead and grab my Cetaphil Daily Facial Moisturizer with an SPF. Obviously, I like to protect my skin during the day if I'm going to be out in the sun. So I do use a moisturizer with SPF. So I'm just patting it all into my face, and make sure you get all in the crevices and also on your neck. And this step is just prepping your skin for your makeup. Then I'll go ahead and get my Vaseline, and it's the rose tint one. It smells really good and I've been using this forever. I just like that tint that it gives you. Then we're going to go in and use the Maybelline Fit Me foundation. I've been using this foundation for probably like 3 years already, and I love it, obviously, because I've been using it for that long. It does say it has a matte finish, but I think it's more of a dewy finish, and my skin is very oily. During the winter, it does get a little dry, but for the most part, it's very oily. Midday, I'm like a grease ball, so I do have to go in and pat myself with like a blotting paper or something like that. But here I am just dabbing foundation all over my skin. Then I'll go and get my foundation brush and just start patting and blending it all into my skin. Next, I take my concealer, and I've been using this e.l.f. 16-hour Camo concealer in the color Medium Sand, and I usually just dab on a little bit under my eyes. And in the mornings, since I'm just on the go, I just use my ring finger and just dab it in under my eyes. And they say to use your ring finger because it applies a less pressure out of all your fingers, so this is literally all I do. And normally if I'm like getting ready, I use a brush or a sponge, but because I'm on the go, I just literally use my finger and just dab it in, try to blend it out as much as I can. Then I'll go in and get a brush later on and just blend everything in. And if it's not a brush, like here I'm using my sponge, so I alternate between the two, but the main point is just literally to just blend everything together, because you really don't want those harsh lines of your concealer and your foundation. And you do want to get a lighter concealer than your foundation color, just so your eyes look brighter and get rid of those bags. Next, I'm going to get my setting powder, and I've been using this Airspun powder. It's pretty cheap. All of these products are pretty cheap, but it's in the color Translucent Extra Coverage. It does have a very strong perfumey scent, which I really don't like, but honestly, it does what it needs to do. So I'm literally just grabbing some, dusting it off, and then I'm patting in where I put concealer, basically all over my face to avoid creasing. And when I put on my bronzer and blush and all of that, you do want to make sure you have a powder underneath that, because otherwise it's going to be blotchy. So you want to make sure you're setting your whole face so it stays in place and doesn't crease up on you. Next, we're going to add some color to our skin, and I've been using this Revolution palette. It's the Rosy Contour and Highlight palette, and I literally just grab 3 shades, blend them together, and just start contouring my face. And this isn't really like a cut crease type of contour. I'm just doing this to add color back into my face because otherwise it would just be really flat and pale. So in the mornings, I like to just look a little more alive, add some color back into my face, and yeah. So what you're seeing here, I'm just literally blending it all over. I put it into my forehead, my cheeks. I'll add some to my nose and just like messily add it into my eyelids just to bring some color back into my skin, like I said. You also want to make sure that you get your under your chin for a more defined jaw. I have a pretty weak jaw, so I try to get some under my chin too, just to give the illusion that, you know, I have some sort of defined jaw. And here I'm just making sure that I'm blending, because you also don't want harsh lines. Even though you're just bronzing up your face, you want to make sure you're blending everything out. Next, I'm going to grab my blush, and I've been using this e.l.f. blush palette. I grabbed that pink shade there, dust it off, and this one is super pigmented, so I literally just dabbed in 2 times and then dust it off and just try to blend it into my cheeks, basically. So you just want to keep blending. Make sure everything looks nice and even. Then I'll go back and get my bronzer brush and blend my blush into my contour where the bronzer is, just so it all looks even. And if it does look a little harsh, or if you put too much for whatever reason, you can just grab your foundation brush or sponge, whatever you use, and just kind of blend everything together. Try to get rid of some of that color if you put too much. Next is the eyes. So I literally just grab my eyelash curler, curl my eyelashes a little bit, and then I'll go in with some mascara. And I'm not set in stone on a mascara. I've been using this one here for probably a year or 2. And it's not my favorite, but it's just honestly the one that I've been gravitating towards. It's just this Voluminous Carbon Black Mascara. If you guys know of a good drugstore mascara, go ahead and comment down below, because I am always looking for a new one. I just don't like spending the money and then finding out that I don't like it. So I just always go back to this one because it's just the best that I've found. So like I said, if you guys have your tried and true that you have been using for years or have just discovered, link it down below, because I'm always looking, like I said, for a new drugstore mascara. But I literally just put mascara on my top lashes. I don't like the way mascara looks on my bottom lashes for some reason. I feel like it droops my eyes down. But yeah, even when I go out, I mainly just put mascara on my top lashes. So you can already see a difference. This literally just opens up your eyes, especially in the mornings. One of the last steps is our brows. And I've been using this e.l.f. brow pencil. And honestly, it's not my favorite. It does what it needs to do as far as like shading them in and whatnot, but I don't like it because of how thick the tip is and it's not very defined. I usually use the L'Oreal Brow Definer pencil, I want to say it's called, but they didn't have my color when I went to go buy it again, so I wanted to test this e.l.f. one. And it's not awful, but like I said, it's just the tip is really thick and it doesn't create those hair-like strokes. But all I'm literally doing here is just filling in the bald spots of my brows and just using that brush to blend everything in. And when you're doing this, I guess I should say when I'm doing this, I don't really try to be precise, because later on I'm going to go and clean everything up with concealer. So if it looks messy in the beginning, that's fine. Just make sure you try to blend everything out as you're going. And then later on, we'll go in with the concealer and clean everything up. And honestly, the concealer is what does the trick on getting your brows on fleek. So now that everything is close to being done, I usually grab a Q-tip and blend the beginning part of my brows. And I try to take off some product because I don't like how it looks harsh, I guess, towards the inner part of my brow. So I usually get a Q-tip and blend off some of the products so it kind of looks blended out. Then this is where we go in and either get your foundation or a concealer. I just use my foundation because I don't really like the super white look under your brow. So I get a small angled brush and use some of my foundation and start cleaning up the brow. And like I said earlier, this is what's most important when you're doing your brows because it cleans everything up and it makes your brows look more structured. And like the cool kids say, they look on fleek. So literally just cleaning everything up, and I'll go back and forth on both brows, just making sure they look as symmetrical as possible. And like they always say, your brows are supposed to be cousins, not sisters, right? Something like that. So once you are done cleaning up your brows, I usually get a smaller blending brush just to blend out my foundation so it doesn't look like very harsh lines around my brows. So I'll just use a smaller brush, like I said, and just blend out my foundation. Then I'll go back in with a Q-tip if I see that they're still a little too harsh in the inner parts, and brush everything out and keep filling in the bald spots if you see any. So this is honestly the longest part of my makeup routine because you can either have a really good brow day where you don't have to spend so much time, or you could have a bad brow day and it ruins your whole day. But that's literally all I'm doing here is just going back and forth, brushing everything through, blending everything, making sure they look good. And that's pretty much it for this part of the brow process. Last step for our brows is to lock everything into place. So I use this brow gel. As you can see, it's pretty used. And one side is for brows, the other side is for lashes, but I'm sure you can use both sides for your brows. And I honestly just bought this on a whim and I've been using it and it's pretty good. It keeps everything in place. So literally just shellacking everything up and setting my brows for the day, and it works, does its job. Yes, girl. And I'll usually just go back in with the brush just to brush everything back up and make sure they look good. And here I'm just cleaning off the foundation that I have on my lips. No one wants foundation lips. Then I'll go in with this NYX Butter Gloss, one of my faves. I've been using this color for evs. It's very neutral and subtle. Then I'll go in with this highlighter from that Rosy palette I used earlier, and I just get a small brush and put it in my inner corner of my eyes just to open up my eyes a little more, make me look more alive and not zombie-ish. And this is just an extra step if you have an extra second or two when you're doing your makeup. And this is the final look. Yes! So this is the final look. Honestly, it's nothing fancy. If I'm going out to an event, I pretty much do the same routine, but I tend to use higher end products because, like I said, I want it to look flawless. If you guys enjoyed this type of video, or if you want to see more of these types of videos, go ahead and comment down below. Don't forget to like this video before you exit out, and also subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye! I'm redoing literally the whole thing, and this is going to be the one. Okay. So if you're into... I don't know what to say. You know what? I'm just not feeling it today. I'm just not. It's been and no one has, okay. Ooh.